Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in and welcome to this ongoing series, Talking Dance, presented by the Steps Beyond Foundation. I'm Allen Maniker, Foundation Board Chair, and I'm going to be your host and interviewer. This series continues to present an exciting lineup of dance artists who will be sharing their stories and insights with you, and they range from across the dance spectrum. The full lineup and information can be found at Steps Beyond, that's one word, stepsbeyond.org. There's also a place there to make a suggested donation, should you be so inclined, which we hope you will be. Also, please note that you can enter your comments and questions in the chat, and we're going to make every effort to answer all the questions asked. If you'd like to let us know where you in the world you're located and listening in from, we would love to know. So I'm going to share my screen here for a moment. Okay, born in Fairfield, Connecticut, James Whiteside is a principal dancer with American Ballet Theater. He joined ABT in 2012 as a soloist and was promoted to a principal one season later. Prior to ABT, he danced with Boston Ballet from 2002 to 2012, moving from the studio company to principal over the 10-year tenure. Throughout his professional career, he has performed the classics as well as the works of Balanchine, Kranko, Kilian, Macmillan, Ratmansky, Tudor, and Tharp. Whiteside's choreography credits include New American Romance for ABT, Lover for Taylor Swift, and a Rothy's TV commercial. Whiteside's dance training began at age 9, studying jazz at the DeValda and Sirico Dance Center, and later ballet training at the Virginia School of the Arts. James Whiteside is also known for his theatrical personas as J.B. Dubs, pop dance artist, and Yoo-Hoo Betch, part of the drag posse, the Dairy Queens. On August 17th, 2021, his memoir and essays, Center, about dance, queerness, and creativity will hit the book stands. So please join me in welcoming James Whiteside. Hey, how are you, James?
I'm great. Hi, everybody. I'm so happy you could join us today.
Yes, it's so great to see you. I have to ask, what is Rothy's?
Rothy's is a shoe company. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just a commercial I made the dance for. Not terribly inspiring, frankly, but do what you gotta do.
Well, it sounded like, well, I mean, did you make a commercial before?
That's a good question. I've sort of danced myself in other types of commercial work, but it was the first time I had made a dance for somebody else to do in a commercial. And it those commercial parameters are pretty slim, and you're not selling your dance, you're selling shoes. So
right.
That.
Well, had you had training in? Did you have any formal training in choreography at all?
No, absolutely not. No.
So, which is harder, to dance or to choreograph?
Dancing is harder, I think. Yeah. I don't know. I think they're both incredibly difficult. Just the physical and mental aspects of dancing thus far have exceeded the physical and mental aspects of choreography. However, that being said, I don't have, multi-million-dollar productions on the line here. These are, I do a number here and there, and hopefully I will get the multi-million-dollar productions.
There you go. Getting your licks in. Do you come from a family that was involved in the arts?
No, nope, not at all. I'm the only dancer in the family. My mother was a nurse, and my father is an English teacher.
Wow.
Yeah.
Were they supportive of your doing dance and whatnot?
They were supportive as long as I could get it paid for. They didn't have extra income, so they said you can do it as long as you get scholarships. And so I got scholarships. I worked really hard, and my teachers saw a lot of potential in me, luckily.
Wow. Wonderful.
Yeah, I was really fortunate.
But you started out training mostly in tap and jazz and acrobatic stuff. What made the switch to ballet?
Gosh, I couldn't stand ballet when I was a kid. It was so boring to me. You know, I would go to jazz class and dance to Janet Jackson, and then I would go to ballet class and they would pop in a cassette tape of this tinny piano music. It was torturous. So, you know, I mean, it's a no-brainer that I liked my tap classes and jazz classes more. They were just more entertaining for a 9-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually I saw a show at Lincoln Center. It was an ABT gala. And I think my teachers brought me so they could show me what ballet is supposed to look like. And I was blown away. I was like, holy crap, this is awesome. Loved it. And then pretty much from then on, I was like, okay, I get it. I like ballet. That's what I want. I always said to myself, I was like 12, and I was like, I'm going to make a name for myself in ballet, and then I'm going to do Broadway. Yeah. Still time, I guess. I don't know. We'll see.
But is that an interest that you eventually do Broadway?
You know, I think it's tough to say. In theory, yes, but it would have to be the perfect situation. I'm not a wonderful singer, you know, there's no world in which I'm going to slot myself into some, you know, principal Broadway role. That just doesn't make sense, and I would not be good, you know. I'm delusional, but not that delusional. So, you know, it would have to be a really perfect mix of things that are right for me.
Uh-huh.
But it interests me, of course. A lot of things interest me.
Yeah. Does an American in Paris have a lot of big time singing?
That's been done. I don't need to do that show.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's a wonderful show. I just don't need to do it.
Yeah.
I want to do something gayer, believe it or not.
You what?
I want to do something gayer.
Such as?
I don't know. Maybe it hasn't been made yet.
Maybe you'll make it.
Maybe I'll make it. Maybe someone will make it for me. See, that's where the delusion comes in.
There you go. Got it. So were there repercussions of being a boy in ballet? Were you
I mean, yes and no. The repercussions tended to be outside of the studio. In my public school, my dance school itself was the safe haven. It was where I found people as weird as me, who were as excited about this one thing as I was. And then it wasn't until I was released into the wild of public schools that I realized what a freak I was perceived to be. Not because I danced really, but it was it was a couple things. It was like, you know, I was a pretty obviously gay kid who did ballet. Target. That's a target right there.
Right. So how'd you combat that? How'd you keep your sanity?
I don't know, honestly. I don't know, there's something in my brain chemistry or my support system that just made it endurable. I had a lot of work to do. You know, I loved dancing, and I had a lot of dancing to do. We rehearsed all the time. We worked really hard. My teachers were really strict. And, you know, it's like any discipline-based art or sport can really save a person. And I know that's trite and tropey and blah, 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 but it's just what it is.
Yeah. It's always been interesting to me the way that the perception of the male in ballet has sort of gone through changes through the ages. I mean, when you think really right back to the very beginning in the 17th century, I mean, Louis XIV, who was this big proponent of ballet, he was a warrior king. I mean, before he was known as a ballet dancer, he was a warrior. And then, you know, you get into the 40s and 50s and it's kind of very effete, considered very effete for a man to pursue. And then, you know, during the 70s, that changed again with some of the dancers. Do you think that we're in a time where even in ballet, the roles can become more gender neutral and even fluid?
Well, like going back to Louis XIV, I mean, that was a time where, you know, male costume and presentation was a huge part of display of wealth and power. And it just doesn't look like that anymore. Aesthetically, things have changed. And I find also with the visibility of homosexuals and queerness, there conversely is going to be a fear of seeming queer or gay. So it's like, in order, like, it's just slammed over to the other side. So you have like you have extremes at all ends, essentially. I know I'm rambling here a little bit, but my point is the aesthetic of dance perhaps now is gay because of the way heterosexuals present themselves. And then you have certain pop stars and things who decide to, you know, be more gender neutral in their costuming and such. And it's, you know, branded as revolutionary when it's really just like, it's another Louis Couture's. Just, I don't know.
So, but I mean, so does that mean you're saying that sort of the rise of what used to be called the metrosexual is making dance seem even gayer or less gay?
No. I'm saying that with more visibility comes more fear of seeming gay. When gayness is mainstream, it's like, I just read a great book called When Brooklyn Was Queer, and it was talking about the sort of underground accepted gay culture that existed. It was very much the don't ask, don't tell stuff, which I think is unacceptable, blah, blah, blah. But it does change the way, I don't know, this visibility makes people afraid of perception. And so I think the way ballet looks, it is elegant, it is poised, there is an element of showbiz to it, costuming, all of it. I think it scares people into thinking that it's super gay, when in fact, like, most people are straight.
That always did surprise me.
You and me both. I'm like, I feel like I've been conned.
Yeah. I'm supposed to be here with all these gay men. Where are they? They're all straight.
What a tease.
Yes, I did have that feeling too. But can ballet be gender neutral?
I don't know. That's not really a question I can answer. I think it's exciting for everybody to explore their truest self, you know? And I think in doing that, there are going to be new ballets made that explore gender neutrality in a really beautiful way. And I support that.
But, you know, so, I mean, if you think about it, can there be, you know, there are, even within the confines of the styles of ballet, you can still look at a ballet dancer and say, even though he's doing ballet, he's doing it looking more feminine than dancer B, who's looking more masculine. You know, is there truly gender expression in the way someone dances? In other words, do people naturally dance more feminine or more masculine?
Well, I think everybody has a personality, and I think everyone's personality shows in their dancing. You know, it's impossible to hide completely. And I mean, you look at even some of the great actors, you know, and you see them, even though they transform from role to role, you see them in every role. You see their style. And that's the same for dance. So what is generally perceived as classically feminine, classically masculine, it just depends on the person and your version of what you think you're looking at. Perception as well.
Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, I once I had someone who explored the idea, especially on Broadway, of dance gesture and what it meant in terms of gender. like if you saw this, that's masculine,
Hmm.
and if you saw this is feminine. And she actually took a piece from, I think it was On the Town, and switched and had all of the women dance the male roles and all the men dance the women's roles. And it was really instructive in seeing that, because the men couldn't completely eliminate their masculinity, and the women couldn't completely eliminate their femininity in doing the choreography that they were presented with. So I think there's also something inherent in the choreography that's gender related.
Well, yeah, it's societal as well. I mean, there's the personality, which is natural, and then there's also what we've been told to be forever.
Right.
So it's hard to completely eliminate that.
Mm. So let me share my screen, and we'll see you. We'll see you looking very masculine in ballet.
We'll see about that.
I know it.
Yes, Butch Queen. I'm sure some people would say that I don't look that masculine.
Wow. Do you like watching yourself, or do you mind watching yourself?
No, I do not like watching myself. So thanks.
You'll only have to do it one more time.
Okay, good.
Right. Well, when you watch yourself, what goes through your mind?
Gosh, I could have done all of that better. That's all.
I asked another principal dancer, who shall go nameless, if whenever he saw himself, did he sort of think, oh, I should have done this better, and I should have done that, or I could have done this? And he said, absolutely not. And I thought, I think he's lying.
Yeah, that sounds like a lie to me. I don't even know what sort of disorder that is.
It starts with ego.
Yeah, it starts with an E and rhymes with ego.
Right, exactly. So here you are, the principal dancer, the prince, and then you start. Now, were you doing drag before you were a principal dancer, or did that sort of come about more recently?
Oh gosh, I don't remember the first time I did drag. I mean, I must have been in my early 20s, like 21 or something. Mm-hmm. I think I did my first, I don't remember, I must have done my first principal role when I was 20 or something. It all sort of grew together. I think they happened, like drag happened because I needed an outlet to be gay. I'm really gay.
Okay. But is drag an outlet to be gay necessarily?
For me, it was. Absolutely. It was a connection to my, freedom and queer culture and friendship and yeah, so many things that I wasn't getting from my work.
Uh-huh. So do you call it drag queen, drag performer, drag artist? Is there any difference? Does it make a difference to you?
I mean, I would call myself a drag queen. I'm not. You can really call me whatever you like, though.
James.
That works too.
But I mean, it's these days people make such a big deal out of the way things are called and named. I don't know, to me, a drag queen is a different thing than a drag artist or a drag performer. Do you know Dame Edna?
Yeah.
Is Dame Edna a drag queen?
You'd have to ask Dana. I think you should let people decide for themselves what they want to be called.
Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter to you?
No, it doesn't matter to me what I am called, but I know it matters to some people, and their wishes should be respected.
Mm-hmm. Mm. So if you have ballet as one form of expression and drag another, what fulfills? So it sounds like you say that the drag part fulfills sort of a gay identification kind of a thing. What's the ballet fulfill about your needs then?
It just fulfills my extreme love of ballet and the art form. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's my passion. It's what I've worked my whole life for.
Mm-hmm.
Well, since I was 9. I wish I
Right.
started there.
Yeah. Do you think there's a divide between, is it the melding of athletics of ballet with the artistic expression, or are they two separate things?
I think it's a lot of things. It's music, it's glamour, it's extreme athleticism, it's camaraderie, it's discipline, aspiration, theater, event. It's a million different things that I just love.
Yeah. But then is playing the prince a role that you put on in the same way that you put on a drag persona?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Does one come more naturally to you?
Probably the drag queen. I don't know. But the thing is, I don't care if I'm good at drag. I enjoy it because it's fun, and it's a fun way to express myself. I care if I'm good at ballet because it's something I've worked incredibly hard at. I have poured so much time and pain and love into this thing. So I care if it fits.
Mm. So is drag just fun, or is there a serious side to it as well?
Well, it's serious to many people, but for me, it's just fun. It's a way to be creative. It's just another. It's painting. It's writing a poem. It's the same.
Right. But do you think that your position in the ballet world, how do your ballet fans feel about when you do drag?
I don't know. It seems some people are amused by it. I'm sure there are. I have no idea, really.
Mm. So is it at all a political statement on your part, do you think?
What do you mean?
Well, I think that sort of the combination of doing a very visible ballet star, you don't often see a very visible ballet star doing drag, and that's all.
Yeah, well, I didn't do drag to make a political statement. I started doing drag for fun, yeah, and it is perceived perhaps as a political statement, but that's not why I do it.
Got it. So let's take a look at some of it.
Sure.
Okay, let me share my screen here.
Impromptu party invitee. We break it off and rig sexy. We do it good, we do it right. We do it loose, we keep it tight.
Are hot and you are
beach house, yes, I'll take her out on that yacht. Give it up to us, cause we are what you are not. Everybody loves a bit of West Coast dick. Everybody wants to be a member of this clique.
We are hot and you are not. We get everything that we want. We are young and you are not. We get everything that we want. Milk it.
Raise your glass and dim the lights, yeah. We kill it every neon night, yeah. Disco lover, live your life like oh, 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 I.
All we know is superficial. It's all we've been exposed to. Please forgive our mass ignorance. We'll have to Google it later.
We are hot and you are not. We get everything that we want. We are young and you are not. We get everything that we want. We are sex and you are not. We got everything that you want. Milk it.
Raise your glass and dim the lights, yeah. We kill it every neon night, yeah. Disco lover, live your life like oh, 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 I. Oh, 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 oh,
We are hot and you are not. We get everything that we want. We are young and you are not. We get everything that we want. We are sex and you are not. We got everything that you want. We are fabulosity and everything that's in between.
raise your glass and dim the lights, yeah. We kill it every neon night, yeah. Disco lover, live your life like oh, 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 I.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
It looked like a huge amount of fun to do, was it?
Oh, it was so much fun. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I wrote the song first. So I wrote that song, music, lyrics, and my ex, Dan, aka Milk, performed it, and I choreographed the whole thing. It was so much fun. I like to make things just to make them. Yeah, had a great time.
And I'm what kind of reaction was there on the subway when you were filming there and in the station? Did you have crowds or
No, it's New York City, so people are like this. They just sort of sit there and look at you, and they don't care. It's wonderful.
And who scouted the locations? Did you find those as well?
Yeah, we did a whole like traipse through Brooklyn, and we were like, we have one day. Our friend was filming us, and we just like picked a bunch of places we thought would look good on camera, and that was that.
So I have one small confession to make, and that is that I think, because I had to watch this about 5 times to be sure that you were the one with the lips.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, because I thought, no, he's the one in the center. No, he's the one on the left. No, he's the one on the right. And then I just thought, oh yeah, it's the one with the lips.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it took, so that's my confession. It took some time to figure out which one was you. But
Good. That means I'm an effective drag queen.
So a question came in asking, what do you think of the Ballet Trocadero? Did you ever want to be part of that company, even perhaps as a guest artist?
Gosh, I adore the Ballet Trocadero. I think they're incredible artists, and just I'm amazed at their prowess on point. I mean, I don't know, if sort of like Broadway, if the role was right, if it felt right for me, perhaps, but I'm not sure.
Another question came in. I think I know the answer to this, but I'll ask it because it came in. Is it easier to watch yourself dance drag than ballet?
Yes, because I care less.
Right. And also, interestingly, they ask, what changes in fashion industry would you like to see happen?
Gosh, I'm thankfully not in the fashion industry, so I'm going to leave that one to the fashion people.
Do you see a time when men will wear high heels
Um,
in sort of a way that's not looked as unusual? Although I don't know that it's so unusual right now anymore.
I don't know.
Yeah. Are you a big fan of RuPaul?
As a person or the show?
The show.
Yes, I've enjoyed watching that show for years.
Mhm.
So much fun.
I can admit to seeing RuPaul in her first wig stock
Oh wow!
many, many, many years ago.
How was that experience? Did you have a good time?
It was amazing. It was in Tompkins Square Park, and it was amazing. Yeah. It was called Wigstock.
Oh yeah, I've seen the documentary. Love it.
Yeah. So it's also been said you're, whatever this means, a gay influencer. What do you hope to impart to the gay community or people overall?
I'm not necessarily hoping to impart anything. I'm hoping to exist freely, and if that in turn inspires people to also live freely, that brings me great joy. I don't know. I'm just trying to do the best I can. I'm not perfect. I'm not a hero. I am trying to do the best I can. So it brings me great joy to think that people are perhaps moved to express themselves in a true way by following along with me in my career.
Let's talk about your memoir.
Sure.
So it's coming out in August.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
Topo Chico, everybody. Delicious.
Okay. Tell us about it. What was the original impetus for it?
Well, it was something that I'd always wanted to do. I knew I wanted to write a sort of essay collection for a long time. And an editor at Penguin contacted me on Instagram and asked if I would meet with her, and met up with her during the Met season outside of the Reflecting Pool at Lincoln Center. And she said, "Hey, I think you're funny. I think you have a great sort of voice. Have you ever considered writing?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I would love that." And she said, "Great. Well, why don't you submit some samples to me, and we can talk some more." And so one Nutcracker season, I asked my boss, Kevin McKenzie, if I could skip the Nutcracker, and he said yes. And I went upstate to my friend's house in the woods, essentially, and it was freezing. It was like a blizzard, and I just was alone for a week, and I wrote a bunch of essays, and I submitted them to the editor. She really liked them, and put me in touch with a bunch of agents, literary agents, and I found one I really vibed with, and we built a proposal and sent it off to Penguin Random House, and it was picked up.
Had you written before this point?
Not a book. Yeah, no.
Do you journal?
I do journal. I've journaled since I was a teenager. I write music and poetry, and yeah.
Do you ever go back and look at your teenage journaling?
Oh my God, I did recently. I found them. They were in my sister's basement, and she found them, and she brought them to Brooklyn. We were hanging out one day, and she brought them with her. And sweet baby Jesus, they are so emo and angsty. They are absurd. I'm like, what were you going through, kid?
So did it surprise you?
I mean, I remembered feeling that way, but I didn't remember how. I mean, it's so innocent. It was so innocent. It was so naive. And I really thought I was writing this like brilliant poetry, and it's like so unbearable.
Well, save it, because when they do a retrospective of your work, they'll want those poems.
Oh God, I think those might remain in the vault. We'll have to dig those out post-mortem.
Well, then clearly I'll be talking to your sister.
Ah!
How do we get a copy of this book?
Oh, you can pre-order it on Penguin Random House's website or on Amazon or, Target, Walmart, Barnes & Noble. It's everywhere. If you seriously just Google James Whiteside Center, you can find it. And I would really appreciate the pre-orders, honestly, because it does help. It does help with getting word out. The publisher will provide more support if there are more pre-orders. And I want to get this story out to as many people as possible.
Wonderful. Did it flow out of you easily, or did you have to fight for it?
It flowed out pretty easily. I wasn't exactly sure the structure I wanted to do, so I knew it would be a non-chronological essay collection, but I didn't want each essay to have the same structure. So there are elements of fantasy, and there's even a play. In one chapter is just a play, and so it's experimental, it's absurd, it's strange, and it felt very natural to me writing it. I just did whatever I wanted essentially, and it hopefully works out.
Was there anything that gave you pause, like thought, oh, maybe I shouldn't write this, or maybe I should?
I mean, the whole thing gave me pause. It's scary to reveal oneself. And I wrote the whole thing as if no one would ever read it. I didn't really know if it would be made. So it scares me to know that people will read it, just because it's a very personal, it's my story, it's my truth. And I wrote it myself, so that's just scary.
Somewhat like your journals.
Oh, nothing's scarier than my journals.
So here we are in Pride Month. Does Pride have a specific meaning for you?
Gosh, I've enjoyed Pride for a very long time. I've had some really singular experiences around Pride, and of course I feel incredibly lucky. I live in New York City. It's a really open, beautiful place to live. And actually, I have a fun story about Pride. And I was on tour with Boston Ballet in, 2000, and we went to Madrid, and our shows in the final leg of the tour had all been canceled. There was something going on, like the presenter had embezzled money or something, so the shows were canceled, but the hotels and everything were booked for the week, and there were no flights out or something. And so we were there for the whole week without any work. It was essentially a paid vacation, which is, hallelujah, all that good stuff. And it happened to be World Pride, which is a huge, it's like the Olympics of Pride. And our hotel was on the Plaza de España, and our rooms all overlooked the plaza. And that was the main hub for World Pride. And there was a huge stage built, and I heard music playing, and I was like, I know that song. And it was Kylie Minogue, and Kylie Minogue was performing on the stage in this little band shell. And I was like, let's go. And I grabbed my friends, and we went down and weaseled our way into the crowd and watched Kylie Minogue perform at World Pride in Madrid. And I was like, this is gayness. It was beautiful.
So that was World Pride in Madrid.
Mm-hmm.
So it's also in June? You were there in June?
I don't remember what month it was.
Uh-huh.
I don't even remember what year it was, but it was a good time.
Yeah. So again, completely dating myself, I was at the 5th Pride. And in those days, Pride came uptown to Central Park, mm-hmm. and the Grand Marshal was Divine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was quite a show.
So can you tell me from the 5th Pride to now? I don't know how active you are in visiting the parade and all that stuff, but what's different?
Oh, the size. I mean, I can listen. I'm an old guy now, but I can handle about 3 hours, 4 hours of it, you know, but when it starts stretching into 6 and 7 hours and it's still coming, it's like, really? You know, I mean, it was really, in 1974, it was really quite subversive to have this group of queers marching up 6th Avenue. And, you know, they had sort of torn shorts and no back to their chaps. And, you know, it was really a different time. Certainly there were no corporate sponsors, which I find so completely interesting that this is, because in 1974 they were begging for corporate sponsors, and now they want to throw them out. So you know, it's sort of been it's really very different, and you know, that was also before any of the AIDS crisis had happened, and it was one of the first flowerings, if you will, of gay culture in the open. And, you know, from 74 up until 80, 81, when the first reports started coming up, it was really quite a celebration and sort of abandonment. And, you know, we've come a long way since then. So yeah, it's very, very different right now. But I think the concept of gay pride is so interesting. I was thinking, since I'm going to ask you the question, what does it mean to me? And, you know, I've always thought, well, I've never been unproud. You know, I've never been ashamed to be gay. So I think that pride is a very interesting concept. Very personal to each person.
Yes. Well, I guess for me then, it's a desire for my existence to be acknowledged, because yes, I am incredibly proud and I am not ashamed, but there are a lot of people who would deny me my existence. And deny me the ideas just the means to exist in a civilized manner, essentially. And so it's a fight to simply be seen, to be heard, to exist. And it's also a fun party.
Absolutely. Well, do you see yourself as an activist?
Oh, gosh. I guess so. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to lead by example. It's hard to say. Some people would call me an activist, some people wouldn't, and I don't know what to call myself.
Human being.
Yeah.
Does that work?
Sure.
So I need to back up for a minute, because someone asked again in the questions, what does the title of James' book, Center mean or represent?
Sure. So in stage directions, center is the center of a stage's width and depth. So there's like a little T, a little snowflake on the center of the stage of its width and depth, and that's called center. So a choreographer or a ballet coach will say, oh, stand on center and, do this. And center was always where I wanted to be with EBT.
And there you are.
Ta-da!
Right. So I just thought of a question. If you could only dance one ballet for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Probably Giselle.
Really?
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, you can keep doing those entrechasses forever into the future.
Into the future.
I forget where I saw a clip of you doing them. They were beautiful.
No, thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, really beautiful.
Thanks.
So a promo from your book says, and this is a quote, daring, joyous, and inspiring memoir and essays from the American Ballet Theater principal dancer slash drag queen slash pop star who is redefining what it means to be a man in ballet. End quote. So what does it mean to be a man in ballet today?
I think it's ever evolving. I think the idea is, the sort of mystique is changing around ballet and what a ballet star should look like and how they should behave. I am decidedly doing what I want to do in and out of the art form. And so I don't know. I didn't say that of myself. So that.
But I mean, is it evolving? Is the role evolving?
For me, it is, because I am actively, pursuing my own interests and behaving in a way that speaks my truth. I've never, the mystery that I felt perhaps pressured outwardly to adopt doesn't really interest me. I prefer to be open and truthful and honest and unashamed. And I think that's what makes me feel good about what I do, especially being in a very public facing company like ABT, a big ballet company with a great name. I'm very proud to be doing it the way I want to do it.
Right. Do you think that your ability to do what you're doing would be any different if you were a corps de ballet member versus a principal?
I've always been the same. I've always behaved the same since I was an apprentice in Boston Ballet. Yeah, so I've always been the same.
But do you consider yourself outspoken?
Yeah, I do.
But so you're publicly outspoken. Were you publicly outspoken as a corps de ballet member?
Well, I didn't have the outlets to be publicly outspoken. I didn't have hundreds of thousands of social media followers. That didn't exist at the time when I was an apprentice and in the corps de ballet. So I was outspoken in my social circles and in my presentation, but nobody knew about it. And when people did find out about it, because I produced, artwork like music videos and things, and I wrote pop songs and did choreographed things. So people learned of my work, and that can be that is a non-traditional path for a classical ballet dancer. And so that, I suppose you could call being outspoken. I didn't quite stay in my lane. I chose to express myself.
Right. So are you pleased with the way society has changed from the time you've been a corps de ballet dancer in Boston as to now?
Absolutely. I'm always inspired by the way people have the capacity to change. I look at even just the past couple of years, and I think of the awareness that people have gained and the interest in information and the sort of sensitivity that people have to others. It's inspiring.
Is there anything you would like to see society move towards in general then that we haven't achieved yet?
I mean, that's a really loaded question. Of course, there are a million things. I don't want to go into all that.
Okay. I'm not going to do the softballs. I thought I'd show you a hard one.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything you want to say to wrap it up?
I would like to thank everybody for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. And thank you so much, Allen. Thank you, Steps Beyond Foundation. And please do pre-order my book. It comes out August 17th. And you can pre-order it on any major retailer essentially, and on Penguin's website.
Wonderful. Well, James, really, thank you so much for agreeing to come on and talk with us today, and being so gracious in handling my somewhat maybe direct questioning, and just for being a good sport about it. And
All right, thanks so much.
And all the best with the sales of the book. I think it's going to be great.
I hope so. Thanks so much,
Great.
Alan. Have a great
Thank
day.
you. Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. So, everyone, thank you all for tuning in. If you've enjoyed the interview, please consider donating at stepsbeyond.org. You can also go to our YouTube channel, the Steps Beyond Foundation, and subscribe. At Steps Beyond, which is one word, .org. You can also find a listing of all our upcoming events as well as past presentations. With that, we thank you again and wish you all a very good night.